So now we are going to create the arrays using the NumPy library over here. So guys, basically you can easily create the arrays using the NumPy library by using these formats in this case. So as you can see, first of all, we will be creating the one-dimensional array using the NumPy library. So let us move to VS Code over here, and the very first statement that you should be using in order to use the NumPy library is to import this library. So guys, simply we make use of the import keyword over here followed by the space character, and this time we provide the library name, that is NumPy in this case. So guys, this is the simple way in order to import any library inside Python. Now guys, you can simply make use of the NumPy keyword over here, that is the library, in order to create the array. So we can simply provide NumPy followed by dot, and then we have something called as array function over here. Now guys, if you notice, every time whenever you are going to make use of the NumPy library, you have to type the entire keyword, that is NumPy over here. But in Python, we have something called as short forms, which we can use instead of providing the entire name of the library. So guys, over here, after providing the import statement and then the name of the library, simply we can use the as keyword over here, and we can provide any short form in order to refer to this particular library. So in this case, we are going to make use of the np short form over here, which is a very common keyword that we use whenever we are going to refer to the NumPy library over here. So guys, this is the way that we are going to import the NumPy library. Now instead of providing the entire library name, that is NumPy, we will be using the np. So over here we provide np followed by dot, and then we have the array function over here. Since it is a function, it is going to take the parameters. So the very first parameter will be the list object that we are going to provide. So guys, simply inside the parenthesis we will have the open and close square brackets over here, and then we will provide the list. So let us say we provide the list of 6 numbers over here, that is 1 to 6, and then on the left hand side we have to provide the variable in order to assign this particular NumPy array. So guys, on the left hand side, simply we will say array 1, it is equal to, and then this particular statement. So guys, this is the very easy way in order to create a simple NumPy library over here. Let me just rename this particular file name, since this is the second tutorial. So we have this particular create.py file name over here, since we are creating the new NumPy arrays. Now guys, apart from this, we want to print what is the content of this array. So simply we will make use of the print statement, which is going to take the parameter, that is array1, which is the variable in this case. Let me just save this file now, and let us see what will be the output when we run this code. So simply on the top right hand side of this VS Code editor, we are going to click on this run Python file over here. This is the icon. So when we click on the icon in this case, as you can see, we are getting the list of numbers, that is 1 to 6, and this is the NumPy array that we have created over here. So guys, this is a very simple way in order to create a one-dimensional array using NumPy library. Now apart from this, we can also create the two-dimensional array, as you can see over here, by using the similar method. So guys, what we will do is, let me just comment out this line of code, and then we will say array2, it is equal to np followed by dot, and then we have the array method, and this time first of all we have one open and close square brackets over here, and then in order to simplify this, what we will do is, since it is a two-dimensional array, I will come on a new line over here. Notice that we have the open and close square brackets over here, and inside this we are going to create another list of elements. So again we are having the open and close square brackets, and this time we will provide the numbers, that is 1 2 3 and 4. Notice that all the numbers are separated using the comma over here. You can use the other data types as well, such as float number or the string values as well. Now this is the one array that we have provided. Let us provide another array. So after comma we are going to go on the next line, and once again we are going to provide the other numbers. that is 5, 6, 7, 8. So over here we will provide 5, 6, 7 and 8. So guys, basically as you can see, we have the outer open and close square brackets, and then within this we have the inner open and close square brackets within which we have the elements of the array, and this is the two-dimensional array that we have created. So over here simply we will say print array 2 in this case. Let us see what will be the output when we run this Python file. As you can see, we have this two-dimensional array that is getting printed over here. Now guys, how do we know what is the dimension of a specific array that is already created? So we provide the variable that is array2 in this case, followed by dot, and then we have something called as ndim. This is the property that will help us in order to get the dimensions of the NumPy array. So let me just save this file now and try running this code. So as you can see, we are getting 2, that is the dimension of this specific array over here. What will be the dimension of the one-dimensional array that we have created already? Let us check that as well. So over here this should be 1 in this case when we provide the n-dimensional property in this case. So when we save this file now and try running this code, so as you can see, we are getting 1 over here since this is the one-dimensional array. Let me just provide the comments over here that this is two-dimensional array and then we have one-dimensional array on top. So guys, we have provided the comments as well. Now apart from this, let us say you want to initialize the array that is having all zeros over here. So instead of having the array method, you can simply use the zeros method. So let us create that as well. Let me just comment out these lines of code over here and then we will say 0 element array. So in this case we will say array3, it is equal to np followed by dot, and this time we want the zeros, so this is the method, and then this is going to take the parameter that is the dimensions of the array, that is the number of rows and columns. As you can see, it is asking for the shape, which should be the rows and then columns that we should be providing. So guys, inside the open and close parenthesis we are going to provide another parenthesis over here, and then we will provide the rows and columns, which is 3 by 3. Now guys, let us print this particular array, that is array3 over here. So this should give us the 3 rows and 3 columns array, that is the matrix, with all the elements that are 0 numbers. So when we run this code once again over here, as you can see, we are getting 3 by 3 matrix, that is the array over here. Now guys, it is important to note that this particular array is also called as matrix since it is having the number of rows and the columns as well. So this is 3 by 3 matrix over here. The first number represents the number of rows, that is 3, and the second number represents the number of columns, that is 3 in this case. What if we provide 5 by 3 over here? So we should be getting 5 rows and 3 columns. Let me just run this code once again over here. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and then we have the 3 columns over here based on the shape that we have provided. Now guys, apart from this, this particular method also takes the type of the elements that we want to create. So over here by default it is the float type in this case, which is the data type of the elements. So simply we can make use of the d type property over here. So let me provide comma in this case, and then simply we provide d type, which mentions the data type of the elements. So we simply provide d type equal to, and then inside the single or the double quotes simply we will provide int 64 as the data type of the elements that we want to define. So we should not be getting this decimal point over here, which is coming by default due to the float 64 data type over here. So when we save this file now and try running this code once again, as you can see, we are getting all the integer values now. There are no decimal points that are mentioned inside this particular 5 by 3 matrix of 0 elements. So guys, in this way you can make use of the data type property as well in order to define the data type of the elements inside the array. Now guys, apart from this, similarly we have the ones function as well. Instead of having all the zeros, we can provide the elements that are 1 also. So simply let me just make use of another array over here. Before that, we will provide ones element array in this case. And now we will say array 4, it is equal to np followed by dot, and then we have the ones method as you can see. So when we press enter over here, once again you have to provide the shape. So let us say we want 2 rows and 4 columns. So we provide 2 by 4 over here, and now we will be printing this array 4 in this case. So simply we have array 4, and then when we run this file now after saving, as you can see we are getting 2 rows over here of all the elements that are the number 1 in this case, and the columns are 4 over here. So we are getting the shape of the matrix, that is 2 by 4, getting printed on the terminal. So guys, once again we can provide the data type as well. So simply we provide t type, it is equal to, we will say int 64 this time, so that we don't get the decimal points over here. So when we save this file now and try running this code, as you can see we are getting the 2-dimensional matrix with the shape that is 2 by 4 over here. Now guys, what do we mean by shape? So basically we had seen that simply we can provide n dim in order to get the dimension. So this is the 2-dimensional array over here that is having all the numbers as 1 in this case. Apart from this, what we will do is, instead of n dimension property, we will simply make use of the shape property over here. So guys, this particular shape property will help us in order to get the shape that we have provided, that is 2 by 4 over here, that is the number of rows and columns, and that is the difference between both the properties. The n dimensional property helps us in order to get the dimension of the array, and the shape property helps us in order to get the number of rows and the columns. So when we run this code once again over here, so as you can see we are getting the shape that is 2 by 4, that is the number of rows is 2 and the number of columns are 4, that we had defined while creating this particular array. So guys, this is the main difference over here. Let me just remove the n dimension from here so that you can see the array 1 and the array 2 contents in that case. Now guys, apart from this, you can also use the arange method in order to get the list of numbers that are automatically generated over here between a specific range. So guys, in this case what we will do is, let me just comment out this line of code over here, and then we will say using arange method in this case. So guys, this is another method. So we say array 5, it is equal to, we will say np followed by dot, and then we have the arange method. Now guys, this particular arange method, what it will take is, let us check that as well, the parameters. So as you can see we have the start number. So basically from which number you want to start this particular array. So let us start from the 0th number over here, followed by comma, and then we are having the next parameter, that is stop. So up to which number you want this array to be stopped over here. So simply we will say 10 in this case. So guys, simply if you provide the start and the stop over here, that is 0 and 10, so basically it is going to create a one-dimensional array starting from the number 0 going up to the number 9 over here. Since the stop parameter, the number is not included in this case while creating the array. So let us print this array, that is array 5 over here. So we should be getting the one-dimensional array going from 0 to 9. So when we run this code once again over here, as you can see we are getting 0 to 9 all the numbers in this case. Now these are all the numbers having the difference of 1 over here. We have another parameter in order to define the step as well. So after the second parameter, if we provide comma, you can see that we have the third parameter as step, which means we can define the difference between all these numbers that are getting generated. So let us say we provide the difference as 2. So first of all we will get the number 0, followed by the next number will be skipped, that is the one number will be skipped. We should be getting the number 2 over here, followed by 4, then 6, and then 8 in this case, since we have provided the step parameter as 2 over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code once again over here. So as you can see we are getting the numbers 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. So guys, this is very important. If you want to get the array only for the odd numbers or the even numbers over here. So this is the array having the even numbers. What if you want the odd numbers over here? Simply instead of starting from 0, we will start from 1 and all the numbers will have the difference of 2 over here. So let me just save this file now and try running this code once again. So as you can see, we are getting all the odd numbers right now because we started from 1 and we are having the step as 2, and the upper limit can be defined based on your requirements. So if we want the numbers up to 20, we can simply say 20 as the second parameter and run this code. You can see that all the numbers are odd starting from 1 up to 19 in this case. So in this way, simply you can make use of the arange method in order to get the array generated between the specific range that we have provided over here. So guys, these are some of the methods in order to create the array using the NumPy library. So we have seen that we make use of the array method over here in order to simply create the one-dimensional or the two-dimensional arrays as well. We can create the three-dimensional arrays also. So let us check that as well. So simply we will say three-dimensional array in this case, and we will say array 6, it is equal to np followed by dot, and then we have the array. So guys, first of all we have the open and close square brackets over here, then we press enter. We will have another open and close square brackets over here. So we have provided 2 times the square brackets, and then inside this once again we will have the open and close square brackets, and then we will provide the elements. So 3 times we are having the open and close square brackets, which means we are creating the 3-dimensional array over here. We can simply provide 1 2 3 as the number followed by comma, and then once again we will provide another list of elements, that is 4 5 6 over here. Let me just print this particular array. So we have array 6 this time. So when we run this code once again, you can see that this is the 3-dimensional array. We can confirm that by using the ndim property over here. When we run this file once again, you can get the dimension, that is 3. We can also get the shape as well. Let us see what is the shape. So as you can see, we are having 3 numbers over here. We only have the 1 element within the outer square bracket, and then we have the 2 elements over here, that is the 2 list of items over here, and then we have the 3 elements inside both these lists. So guys, this is the way that we can create the 3-dimensional array as well. And apart from this, we have also seen the zeros method, the ones method, and the arange method in order to create the required arrays with a specific content, that is either zeros or the ones or the range of numbers that we have provided. So guys, comment in the comment section below whether you have learned something out of this video. Please make sure that you like this video so that it reaches to more people, and subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications on upcoming videos as well. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.